Alright, it is October the 26th, it's Monday, and the AM tower has arrived here at the WXLW site, and they're unloading it now. They'll begin to put the guide wires together and perhaps begin to stack it, if not today, tomorrow. And it's a 230-foot tower. This one will have guide wires. You'll see as we pan left here, once they pick up this part of the tower, the two sections of the tower now they're going to pick up. And over here in the background you'll see the old tower, and that tower will come down hopefully by the end of this week, once we get this new tower installed here. So this tower will sit on a base insulator, which you'll see in a few minutes on the same video, and it will have guide wires, and it will have insulators on the guide wires. Alrighty, it is Thursday. The rain has stopped, so we're back in operation today. This is called Out with the New, or Out with the Old and In with the New. And that's Eddie, the owner of Tower Works, knocking down a little building that they used as a antenna tuning unit building, or better known in the broadcasting business as a doghouse. And that little building was built in 1948, and it's coming down. And later on, a little further in this video, you're going to see the new one that we're going to build to replace it, which is just a little H-frame that will house the antenna tuning unit and the lightning choke and the LED lighting system. So it's out with the old and in with the new. Time moves on. Over here is the new building that we had installed, that we brought down from Chicago, from the COVID station up there, that they didn't have any need for, but it was a brand new building, and it's all air conditioned and really nice inside. You'll get a good look at that a little bit later on as we proceed along this sort of final days of getting WXLW here in Indianapolis back up on the air on their brand new 230-foot tower, and just stay tuned. This is the next phase of putting up a guide tower. What they're going to do here is they're going to pull this guide wire out, and then they'll cut it and insert the insulators in between the wires. And then they cut. The reason for that is has to do with re-radiation and of the signal from the AM tower. So we'll see a little bit of how this goes together, but procedure right now when they pull it off the spool.
Okay.
The guide wire from the top going down to the anchor is going to be about 280 feet long, even though the tower is only 230 feet. It's Tuesday, November the 3rd, and this is the day that we are going to set the tower. This will be the new AM tower, 230 feet. Going to set it with a crane. It's going to be sitting on this pier here, which is grounded, and that on top of that will be the insulator, and the tower will then sit on top of the insulator, and the entire tower is grounded, and they're going to use this crane that will go up to about 230 feet. Alright, we're picking up the base section of the tower. It's a beautiful day. Right now it's about 50 degrees. Probably, maybe 55. It's going to get up to 72 today. Compared to last week at this time, it was in the mid 40s, raining like crazy. It felt like it was going to snow. Alrighty, that section of the tower is 20, 40, so that's 80 feet. Each one of those sections are 20 feet. As opposed to the last tower we put up here, this is a guide tower, and it uses guide wires. Some people refer to them as guy wires. I call them guide wires because they guide the tower and hold it up. Okay, here they're going to install the base insulator that insulates the tower from the ground. It's made by a company called, I believe, LAP, and I believe they're located in Canada. Not too many of those companies left because we don't use too many insulated towers, but it's the same type of insulator that they use on great big power lines and so forth. And that will sit on top of this base here.
God, I need to quit smoking.
I have to cut these bolts off. Yeah, we gotta cut them. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit. Cut them bolts. Where the heck's the grinder?
So there is the first 80 feet of the AM tower. And now they have the base insulator installed, which the tower sits on, and it actually sits on a little ball on the bottom so that it can move around a little bit. And they will pull out the guide wires to the anchors, secure them, and then Eddie, who is the owner of the company called Tower Works, is out there in the back, and he's going to line up the tower and make sure it's standing straight, and then they'll add the next 80. This is where they're tensioning up the tower and getting it straight, and they do that by this come-along device and get it set, and then they use the turnbuckle below that he's turning right now to keep it in place after they take off the come along. Now we have one of the tower riggers up on the tower, and his job is he's going to disconnect that, as they call the headache ball at the end of the crane there, so they can move the crane away and go down and pick up the next section of tower that's going to go up here. They've got this one pretty well stabilized, so the next 80 feet will be going up here in just a minute. Now we're lifting up the next 80 feet of tower. We'll sit on top of the first 80 feet we just put up. Then we'll pull the guide wires out as we did before to the guy anchors. We have a man on the tower that you saw just a little bit ago. And once he picks these 3 sections up, actually there's 4 sections there, which is 80 feet. Now in the old days, they used to take these sections up with a gin pole, and that would be like a little tower section that would sort of shimmy up alongside of the top section, and then they would push that up and then put a little pulley on top of it and pull them up and stick it on. But for towers that are under 300 or 400 feet, they can use a crane today. In the old days, they didn't have cranes that were that high. This is a single crane that this one can go up to about 275 feet. It's a pretty substantial crane. Now they're going to set the next 4 sections. Got a man up there on the tower. He's going to sort of pull it in to where he is. And then he'll bolt it in. Tower is built by World Tower from Mayfield, Kentucky. Brant Walker is the man I deal with there. And World Tower out of Illinois is erecting the tower. So once this is in place, the tower will be at 160 feet. And then there's the last section to put up after they get these guide wires tensioned. As you can see, we have quite a bit of activity here today at the tower site on November the 3rd, Tuesday, November the 3rd. It's going to hit 72 degrees here in Indianapolis. Currently, the power company is actually getting their job done today, or trying to get their job done. Maybe not today, but they're working on it. They got plenty of people here to do it. They're going to connect into those wires that you see up there, and they're going to set a couple of more poles, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have power here at the new WXLW site.
I'm committed to staying with the plan and allowing my bank to feel the way God intended.
Now we're lifting the last section of the AM tower here at WXLW. This is the top section, the section that has the strobe light on top of it. And this will bring it up to 234 feet once it gets mounted on top of the structure that we've already put up. So far we have about 180 feet in place. This crane seems to be behaving a lot better than the other one did. The last crane we had here when we were erecting the 150-foot tower on the same property wouldn't work because it was being interfered with by the radio station's transmitter. But this one we're operating at 1,000 watts right now. Everything seems to be going fine. The crane seems to be operating well. And tower guy over there is climbing up the tower so that he can set the tower in place once it gets put into place by the crane. There goes the lift. It's taking it kind of slow because the tower rigger who's on the tower is not climbing the tower terribly fast at the moment. And one of the critical phases of taking this last one up is, of course, the guide wires are much longer, and they have to be extended out, and they have to get on top of some of these other wires. So we actually need all hands on deck as soon as we can get them here. As you can see here in the background, this lift has 2 layers of guide wires on it, as opposed to the other lifts that only had 1 layer of guide wires. So there's a total of 6 guide wires in this lift. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with. Got a good crane operator here today. Marlin Cranes here in Indianapolis has really done a good job for us. pull that top lift over, put it in place, put the bolts from the bottom up. The bolts on towers go from the bottom up. So if for any reason they were to break off or they were to come loose, you would notice a hole because they wouldn't be there. They came from the top down and the nuts came off of them. You wouldn't notice it, but something I learned on this trip, that they always put them in from the bottom up. So the nut is on the top and the bolt is going from the bottom up. And there it is, in place. Screw it in, and then they're going to come back and they're going to weld the sections all together so that it makes good conductivity. So all of the sections that are being lifted together are welded, and then the new sections that are put into place will be welded as well. Today is November the 4th, and just giving you an idea of what's going on here. Hopefully today they'll get those wires strung between these two or three power poles over there, and that will get power here to the WXLW site on 56th Street here in Indianapolis, and we'll be able to activate the new 950 transmitter plant and have power for our new cellular tower, which you see here in the background. We finished yesterday the new AM tower. Once again, we'll take a look over here at the power company working, and then pan around here to the new cellular tower is finished. Just waiting for Verizon to do its install work. Guy anchor for the new AM tower. It's over here. And it's all ready to go. And then the tower over here on the left is the old original 1948 guide 234-foot AM tower, and that tower will be replaced with another 190-foot monopole cellular tower.